This thing's already starting. I mean, I need to go and make coffee. You're gonna chat by yourself?
No, wait. Let me just talk. Hey, Machita. Why must I start by myself?
Because I want to go and make coffee.
So what must I say by myself? Must I start
You can
the topics?
update people on, well,
Yeah.
so pen and pen.
What up?
I actually met someone who loves our content who was saying, who asked for the gay handshake. So it was a lady. It was actually, so cool. Who was like, gay handshake. I'm like, whoa.
And the one time I go into this one agency and this one lady, and I know 100% she'll watch this. She's like, oh man, can we? And I was like,
handshake.
you know, like, and you go, and you, like, I'm standing, and she goes, woo. I was like, ah.
That's dope.
Yeah, it is dope.
What's up, guys? It's Penuel, the black pen. I'm just gonna go make coffee quickly. I'll be back just now, but I'll leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Penson. Mlotshwa.
Wait, as them Sanmunan, guys. Smashing the pen and pen. It's been a mighty minute. I don't think we're as consistent now as I'd like to be. I know this guy is hectically busy, traveling a lot. And Guanaminje, I think Hispani, you know, trying to align certain things is also taking a lot of my own personal time. But outside of that, man, Grandy, he's good. I think this video, we're just going to try and hit a couple of topics. We're going to obviously do a little wrap up on the Rugby World Cup, the highs, the lows. Tina, we both All Black fans, so obviously things didn't go our way. But again, well done to the Springboks. We'll unpack what that means to the boys, to the country. I think I also want to touch on Israel versus Palestine. You know, a lot of people are not talking about the topic. Obviously, it's sensitive. We understand why it's sensitive. People have been cancelled for less. So we're going to try and do some gymnastics around that type of topic, what is currently happening, without being insensitive to the situation. Again, talking about Israel, not Jews. Talking about Palestinians, not Muslims. Obviously, there's a huge undertone there in terms of the religion, etc., etc. And then a topic that I also want to talk about is dating or marrying abantu that have kids. You know, so she's got a baby mama, or he's got a baby mama, she's got a baby daddy. The dynamics around dating that, you know, especially with our generation, it's very different than the generation above us. You know, where it was like taboo that a man dates or marries a lady who already has a child. And if that person has a child already, normally what women would do is that they take that child with her mom, so so that she can then get married and start a whole family. In today's time, especially with our generation, it's something that we just need to get to grips with. A lot of people have kids. My brother's kids, I've got kids. So you know, we already come through with kids and baby mamas. So there's that. How do you navigate in today's time that space? If you are the baby daddy, seeing your ex carrying on with her life, how does that look like? You know, so those are three topics that I want to do a bit of a chat around. I don't know what topics this guy will want to talk about. He did say that he's got a sore throat. Ungazi ukuthi why abantu banama sore throat on a Sunday ngempela. But he said he's got a sore throat. So maybe I'll be doing a lot of the chats. Hope not. But I'll be chatting a lot, especially about those three topics. Ninganagi, guys, if you see my kids in and out here. So I'm recording, we're at my mom's place, and my kids were visiting, obviously. Yay! Oh. And my kids were visiting their grand, so you might see some naked kids. Are they naked now?
They can't see naked kids. The video is going to be taken down for
Serious?
child porn.
Hey.
So we'd have to we'd have to edit that shit out. People don't report these things. The algorithms work. Sorry for interrupting, by the way.
It's TikTok, whenever like you post.
Are you done speaking?
No, I'm about to. It's TikTok, whenever they can see like Ingane, once they see a little bit of nipple.
It's out. Can you shift to the side and come at an angle? Please. At that angle there.
Which angle there?
The corner of the desk. Please try it out. Let's see here.
Like this.
But corner of the desk. You didn't do maths at school, ne? Geometry. Corner of the desk.
Angishang a higher grade. I guess.
Ah, no, we can take coffee.
Yeah, well.
Bastard. I'll be back.
Let me
Finish your point there.
So yeah, those are 3 topics. Hopefully we do a bit of a deep dive. Quite excited to hear what this guy's take on those points.
I left a teaspoon. I had a story to tell you guys. Yeah. There's a... I was busy stirring the coffee and I remember this thing I heard once. Apparently English people stir clockwise when they stir their tea and their coffee. Afrikaans people apparently stir anti-clockwise with their tea and their coffee. And then black people, it just... Guys are busy murdering mugs out here. Are you comfortable?
I'm okay.
You look shorter than me. I love it. So dope. Penuel? Pensen. Moi.
That was just guys.
Sorry, what did I miss? What were you telling the people?
I was talking about the topics. I was talking about you say you got a sore throat. Suggesting that you have a teaspoon of cement and harden the fuck up. But yeah, those topics that we said we're going to unpack: Rugby World Cup, Palestine, Israel, and dating someone who's got kids. Hectic.
Again, officially, I know I've made videos on TikTok and even here on YouTube. A huge congratulations to the South African Springboks on winning the World Cup. Very well deserved. Literally 1 point in the quarters, 1 point in the semis, 1 point in the final, and it was a dream. It was a dream World Cup campaign for the Springboks. Yeah, I think you guys have seen everything, and I've said a lot of the things. Myself and my brother support the New Zealand All Blacks, and I don't know if you'd say I made a mistake of announcing it closer to the final. And yeah, I've been getting dragged along to Prince KP. Shout out to Prince KP. And Prince KP also supports the All Blacks, and we've been getting dragged.
There's so many people that support the All Blacks, but I think it's just the courage.
Closet supporters.
Closet supporters, because I got a lot of messages, But I think we've been trying to be
humble in
defeat and gracious. Because I also did a couple of videos around that saying congratulations, congratulations to the boys and the coaching staff. But we haven't done any videos around the controversial stuff. Or have you?
What controversial stuff?
The cards that was dished out
in the game. I tried to be humble. I tried to be humble and gracious in defeat. So I also want to say huge congrats, which I have said as well.
Yeah.
Huge congratulations to the New Zealand All Blacks. No one expected them to do as well as they did. Ian Foster, the coach, the guy stepped up, especially in their game against Ireland, beating Ireland by 4 points. And they had a really, really beautiful end of campaign. Everyone got their dream final, New Zealand and South Africa. And the guys lost by 1 point.
Yes.
So Adi Sevilla won Player of the Year. Mark Talia, the wing, got Breakthrough Player of the Year at the World Rugby Awards. So big shout out to the All Blacks. And I do feel personally that the best team on the day did win, even though there were factors that I think Vincent wants to raise.
So again, I was waiting for a while, Guti. Let people celebrate the win, get excited, congrats. But from a World Rugby point, something needs to be done. Where if you look at the TMO,
angle doesn't work. Sorry.
Does the angle not work?
Yeah, so I think one leg into the desk.
So let's for example look at the role of the TV match official, the TMO.
Sure.
So should the ref miss something, the TMO then talks to his ear. Hey, you missed the knock on in the line out. Therefore, Aaron Smith's try is not a try. If you look at the rules are suggestive, meaning Uguti, should the game go further than 2 phases, we would suggest Uguti let the game go rather than coming back. So the try was scored. They reviewed, the knock on was fair. So you knock, that's against the rules. And then the TMO then had a roll. Now the question comes in when an Adi Savea fetches the ball clean. The ref says he didn't release.
Sure.
Springboks get a penalty. They get 3 points. Right? The ref then sees it on the screen and says, Hadi Adi, I missed it.
Did he say this on?
Yes. Oh, yeah. No.
He said it was a mistake.
Yeah, he said he missed it. He said he didn't see that, but he apologizes because, again, when you see it on the screen at a later stage, I think the kick had already happened.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so now he's apologizing with his shit. I missed it. Nah? And refs will always miss things. The same way that he missed that knock on, and the same way that he missed.
They're human.
They're human.
Referees are human.
My question comes in with the TMO.
This is Wayne Barnes, right?
Yeah, this is Wayne Barnes.
Who's retired, by the way.
Yeah.
Big kudos, big shout out to Wayne Barnes. An icon of the game, world-class referee, of course. He got to ref
I hate him, but
the final. Sure, but I mean, you've got people like Nigel Owens, who's a monster now. We had Jakub Paper as well, who got injured, unfortunately, and then Wayne Barnes. Shout out to Wayne Barnes, man, and happy retirement from at least reffing at that level. Sorry, please continue.
So, again, my question comes into TMO. So, Wayne Barnes' wife had a very controversial tweet. By World Rugby, you won't be missed. Like, whoa. That speaks volumes, right? Guti, she feels that her husband was not protected. Because now, obviously, people on Twitter are going to tear him apart. Unfairly so. Because refs are humans.
So when she says by World Rugby, she's speaking about us, the community.
She's not speaking about the institution. She's speaking about the institution.
Hectic.
She's speaking about the institution. Because the institution has not come up to say, well done, this is wrong, this is they've never said anything to protect Wayne Barnes or any of the refs in this World Cup.
When they make mistakes or when they make controversial calls.
When the world has been attacking the refs via social media.
Yeah.
World Rugby has not come in to try and almost be that buffer.
To say it's on us.
It's on us. So now, rightfully so, the All Black fans will say TMO fucked up. Because when they made a mistake that resulted in a try, the try was scored. Né?
Yeah.
You went all the way back 8 phases.
And you disallowed the try.
Yeah. Why did you not pick that up and go back and then disallow the conversion?
Yeah.
So the consistency is always being a big thing. Wayne Barnes, you'll be forgiven because the way you stand, your angles, your that. Upstairs, you might have 2-3 technical guys that are watching this thing.
Yeah.
They are the ones that are picking up this, speaking on the ear, da. So why is it that you will come back and disallow this try and then when you play, see that Adi did the right thing and not disallow this kick? And in a game of inches, anything can change.
Sure.
If you look at Usia Kolisi's yellow card, where he hit high versus Sam Kane's, now the question is, but what's the difference?
Did they look the same?
What's the difference? Because the communication by the TV match official it was a hit to the head.
Yeah.
Né? So in protecting players, and so they should, we need to stay consistent in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, Sia Kolisi's run up from 10 meters away, resulting a head collision. Sam Kane's getting head collision.
Yeah.
Where's the difference?
Yeah.
We're trying to understand. We'll say TMO stay consistent within the laws. And I think those are the controversial things moving forward that will have a lot of people feeling sour and have a huge distaste. Because we understand the ref who's there, he's seeing the game live. So isn't there anything he'll miss it? He'll be like, oh shit, what happened there? Yeah. Okay, yellow card, keep going. No qualms on refs making shit calls. I've refed many times, thousands of things happening at the same time, and you'll miss. But the TMO who's watching it slow down, they're in a room full of so many analysts. Why is it that you can say this here and it applies? Because your logic is hit head, high level of danger, red.
Yeah.
Hit head, oh no, keep going. Those are inconsistency and those are the controversial things that I think this entire World Cup, let's take it away from the final game, the role of the TMO as the big brother type of thing, the role of, because it's almost like the ref is just on the field just as a body, while the actual big brother with their cameras are there controlling and facilitating everything. Then what's the point of having the ref then? When you can slow down the game constantly, frame by frame, TMO should be like Epoleng, the VAR, what's it called? The VAR. Yeah, VAR. If the ref is not too sure about something, because refs are mistakes.
Yeah.
Once the ref says, hey, bro, I actually don't know.
Let's refer.
Then let's refer it. But this thing of constantly, from the first game, constantly coming back, hey, stop, hey, stop. Unless something is blatantly, from the side, someone just threw a punch or whatever, where again, you've got 2 touch judges. Yeah, well, you've got 2 touch judges, you've got a ref. Those are 3 eyes already, 3 sets of eyes on the field.
Yeah.
Then you've got like another 4 fucking guys up there I know. Those guys should just be only there. Mighty referee. Hey, Ndanga. I didn't see. Then they come in and then slow it down frame by frame and look at, okay, and ants shat on the ball. Those are the things that will kill this World Cup. If I had to criticize certain aspects, give me to be the TMO and the officiating of this World Cup, of which World Rugby has not come back and said, we apologize for this, we were successful here. They just said, we made $500 million.
Are those your only points?
Well done, Springbok. So if people think that I didn't say that, then but like sing she, you know.
sound like a sour loser.
Of course, I'm gonna be who's a happy winner, a happy loser. I'm not a happy loser. I'm a sour loser. But with that being said, after that game, I love the All Blacks even more. What they did in the second half, having 14 men, you know, because you're not playing against Talalas. It's not like 14 men versus Namibia.
Yeah.
It's 14 men versus the defending champions, the number 1 ranked team in the world. 14 men in a game of inches. People don't understand. If you've never played sports at that level, imagine having to play against, if you've ever, let's say, played whatever, a team that the last game we played gave you guys a proper thrashing in Twickenham. So think of going back to school, varsity, whatever. Think of a team that already beats you and then take away one of your players, your captain, and then play against them again. You know, so give me, it was just like, yes, already it's such a bridge too far. Ranked first in the world, defending champions, just beat us thoroughly in Twickenham, record breaking, and now you're going to take away our captain for the whole second half. Give me just like, but well done to the mighty All Blacks. Santana guys,
Penson and I are different sports fans and supporters. We both support the All Blacks, but Penson is very emotional compared to me.
Can I tell you what's weird?
Sure.
We bet. Né? When I bet, I bet with my gut feel. It's a weird thing. I don't know how you bet. So I mean, like before,
no, I bet based on data.
So before I used to
not gut feel.
So I used to bet mental, because I never used to bet whenever the All Blacks play. I never bet. I never ever bet because I used to feel like it's too emotional. Then after a while, I started to be like, maybe it's Ian Foster who say I can't see the All Blacks. So you're like, what does my gut tell me? You know, because even with that Ireland game, I put money on the All Blacks winning. You know, fair enough, I'm fucking lying. But I put it. Go in. I don't know if that makes sense. And then when it comes to like the final, I put money on the Springboks.
Why?
Because I just had a gut feel, dog. I was with cars.
Yeah, gambling is dangerous. Stay away from reckless gambling.
Yeah,
stay away from gambling that has to do with your gut feel. If you want to gamble, make sure that it's a very small percentage of your income. Make sure that you don't chase bad money with good money. What that means is you'll place a bet and lose, you'll place a bet and lose, you'll place a bet and lose, and then you'll be like, I need to cover these 3 losses. And then you start betting some more because you're trying to cover the losses. So for me personally, I don't support this. If you can bet based on some level of objectivity, this is the better team, etc. I'm saying this as a caution, like a parent. So you can go gamble and bet and do whatever you want. It's your life, it's your money. But on a platform like this, you're listening to Penson, and as a voice of reason, I have to kind of warn you that, you know what, try and apply logic, try and use data. Thing of your gut.
This guy,
next thing
let me expose. This guy put money on Japan beating the Springboks in 2015.
Yeah.
Talking about logic, where was the logic there? Talking about the data, where was the data there?
Yeah. So I can answer that. Can I speak about the World Cup?
Okay.
Before time runs out. So Penson is a very emotional. No, I need to finish all my points. So please try and gamble objectively. Gamble with your head, not with your heart, not with your gut. And don't chase bad money with good money, number 1. Number 2, man, shout out to World Rugby and a really spectacular World Cup, Rugby World Cup. Thank you to France as the hosts, very gracious hosts. They lost, unfortunately, to the Springboks in one of the most thrilling games of the World Cup. Shout out to Antoine Dupont, who was the player of the year last year and a great ambassador of the game.
I think even played the year before.
Played with a fractured face. Shout out to the other teams that stepped up, man. Andy Farrell and his Irish boys. Owen Farrell, his son, with England, who almost beat the Springboks as well. They also weren't highly rated, and the Springboks literally pulled a smash and grab because England was winning that whole game. Shout out to the All Blacks for peaking. Shout out to Argentina for being there all the way through to the semis. Shout out to Fiji for getting us emotional. Shout out to Portugal, who had an emotional campaign, man, and went home as heroes. Shout out to Bandi Aki, man, at number 12 for Ireland. He's my World Player of the Year, even though Adi Savia of New Zealand won. Shout out to Cheslin Colby, who I think has been the best Springbok rugby player this year. Shout out to Mani Libok, who took the Springboks all the way to the semis and then handed over to Andre Pollard to then go and finish him. I think that was pretty dope. My big takeouts as well from the World Cup, the refereeing and the TMO decisions were very inconsistent. A lot of guys got unnecessary yellow cards. A lot of guys got unnecessary red cards. And it did spoil a lot of the games. A referee should never steal away the attention of the game to a point where you remember the ref. You're not meant to remember the ref. The ref is meant to just lubricate the game and just make sure it's flowing. Once the ref becomes a focal point, like people complaining about Ben O'Keefe as well.
Then before the game even starts. Before the game even starts, guys are already saying, that ref.
And maybe I understand Wayne Bond's wife, if she's saying it the way that I think Penton is explaining, that the referees also need to be protected in the sense that referees do make mistakes and you're allowed to get angry.
Yeah,
you're allowed to get angry, especially as a passionate fan. But when it comes to the rules themselves, this now goes to World Rugby. And World Rugby is meant to say, these are the rules. They were implemented correctly or they were not, or we will review them. We apologize. We take full ownership for what the referees went through. And if World Rugby has not done that, then that's really poor.
Yeah, because I think most sports people, like once the adrenaline won, they realize that the refs will make mistakes. And they will.
Yeah. And you'll get angry. Yeah. Because they'll cost your team the game.
Yeah.
So,
but again, you just want, like, I'd rather a shit consistent ref versus a brilliant inconsistent ref.
Well, that's difficult. That's a human thing. So that's the human part you're talking about. I'm not speaking about the human part. I'm speaking about World Rugby and the rules.
Yeah.
So there could have been good refs and bad refs. Wayne Barnes could have been a good or a bad ref in the final. I'm speaking more about the rules and the consistencies of the rules and their interpretation and the TMO and how TMOs throughout the World Cup was selective in when they interfere with how the game is flowing. So I wanted to say that I will not speak about the World Cup final. I believe the Springboks deserve to win. And I believe the All Blacks lost the Rugby World Cup final in Richie Mo'unga missing a conversion, which he could have slotted. And as difficult as that kick was, Jordie Barrett, if he'd gotten his accuracy right, because the distance was there was a penalty that he got. And if he'd gotten that right, the game of inches, they would have won.
That's what Rico said, hey?
Rico Ioane.
Yeah, because they like literally, like officials or not in media is going to try and poke. Yeah. And they're like, the refs are, and he's like, it wasn't the refs, it wasn't the officials.
We could have won the game.
We had many opportunities that we could have taken, but
even with 14 men, by the way, and that shows great character. I love the fact, not Springbok fans. My brother and I have spoken about how we don't like Springbok fans, and they've proven it even now in their hyper emotional bashing. If you look at the Springboks themselves, you look at how classy they were in defeating the All Blacks and the mutual respect. Sia Kolisi hugging Adi Savia, Sam Whitelock chilling with one of the Springbok forwards. Those guys respect each other very much. The problem is the fans.
Of course.
I'd like to think, and I'd stand to be corrected, that from what I've seen in my life experience, if the All Blacks fans, or if the All Blacks had beaten the Springboks, I do not think the average All Black fan would have been poking and jeering at the Springbok fans. Oh, boys, 4 more years. It's not that type of outfit from what I know. I appreciate and love the Springboks, and I appreciate and love the character of the All Blacks. The Springboks scored no points in the second half, and all the 12 points were from Pollard's boot through penalties and not a try. So that's testament to a world-class championship team who lost by 1 point with 14 players, some inconsistent reffing, etc. So shout out to the boys, and I again congrats to the Springboks, Rassie Erasmus, Jacques Nienaber, Sia Kolisi, and everyone else. The last point on rugby before we move on. I try my best. I've traded Forex, I've invested in the stock market, I've been in various business investments. I try my best to ensure that I always, when it comes to money, I deal with ration and logic and numbers. At not the 2019, it was the World Cup before that.
2015.
The World Cup before that. Eddie Jones, Japan, went and took on the Springboks. It never was Japan ever going to win that game. And in my right mind, I would never ever put money on a weak team at the time like Japan beating the Springboks. So I need to clarify that I did not put money on Japan beating the Springboks. So what happened? What happened is around that time, because I was big on trading, I was big on sports betting, I would go on social media, Facebook in particular, and I would hedge bets. So I would go to people and say, 100 Rand, I think the Springboks are going to beat Japan. If anyone wants to bet, hit me up. And there was a guy who, these are the people that either bet on their gut or luck or are crazy. Some guy went and said, Pen, in my DMs, I will put 100 Rand on Japan to win the Springboks. Because when I looked at the odds were basically saying if you put 100 Rand, I don't remember the odds exactly. If you put 100 Rand on Japan to beat the Springboks, it will pay something out like 20,000 Rand. It was ridiculous. The odds were insane.
Maybe not that intense.
So, no, it was crazy like that. Like, let's say 10,000. You put 100 Rand on Japan to beat the Springboks, it pays out 10,000 Rand. So I said to this guy, if you put 100 Rand on Japan and they beat the Springboks, I will pay you 500 Rand. And the guy was like, let's go, boy. I took this guy's money, and then out of, I guess you'd call it my greed, I took the 100 Rand and I said, I'm hedging my bet. So I'm only going to bet 50 Rand on Japan beating the Springboks, because I've already made 50 Rand. There's no way Japan is going to beat the Springboks. So I had pocketed 50 Rand from this guy's money, his money, not mine. I took his 100 Rand, I pocketed 50. I was like, the Springboks are going to beat Japan. I've just made a quick 50 bucks with no risk on me. Then I took 50 Rand and I put it on Japan, and I was like, we're going to lose that money. I could have kept the whole 100 Rand and said, there's no way Japan is going to beat the Springboks. But I took 50 Rand and I put it on the box. And if it was meant to pay 10,000, it paid 5,000 Rand. And I could not believe my eyes. I was like, what the fuck? So it paid out 5,000. Penzo, the rational.
I did that in 2019.
I took the 5,000. I gave this guy I think I actually even sent him 1,000 Rand and said, look, it was an insane bet. Here's 1,000 Rand. That guy was excited. I bet with Pen. Pen paid me 1,000 Rand, and I pocketed the 4,000 plus the extra 50 Rand. So anyone who's ever gonna be like, I bet on, I really don't. I do know how to hedge
I
bets.
did that in 2019 with the guys. You remember the guys in the group were like, Springboks and I was like, and I was betting. And
To hedge bets
in 2019, because I bet with 8 guys 100 Rand, and I put money on the Springboks to win.
Yeah.
I think I won like 4.5. And then I had to pay them. It's like one, and you know when you're betting with guys, always like 1 for 1. You know, so you just
it is 1 for 1.
Yeah, one. So I just was paying them 100 Rand each. That
I made money. I made money, by the way, in the Football World Cup.
Yeah.
I think I may have made a profit of 3,500.
Yeah.
But I hedge bets. So I'll put 50 Rand on this.
Yeah.
And then I'll put another sure 50 Rand somewhere else, just so that it kind of balances out.
No,
those are my thoughts on the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
Shout out again to the South African Springboks. It's just come out that Rassie Erasmus is taking over from Jacques Nienaber as the Springbok coach. He was the Springbok coach in 2019 and the head of rugby, director of rugby. He was director of rugby now with Jacques Nienaber as the head coach. Head coach. And then Jacques Nienaber is moving to Leinster and Ireland. Huge congratulations and a huge shout out to Jacques Nienaber. So Rassie Erasmus is again taking over
as head coach
of the Springboks. And some of us are really hoping to see Umzwandile Stick, who's been part of the setup even with the last World Cup, seeing him maybe get higher coaching honors in time. A lot of people are looking at Dobson, who's the coach of the Stormers, who are doing really well, as a potential person to take over from Rassie. Rassie might keep the team until 2027. We'll see. So shout out to all of those guys, man.
Rassie, Eddie Jones, it's unfortunate that he fucked up this year.
Yeah, he's left Australia.
Rassie, Eddie Jones, Razor
is Scott Robinson from New Zealand.
There's coaches that just make me nervous. Like they are geniuses.
We have to give context. My brother's speaking as if he's speaking to rugby fans.
Oh.
So Rassie Erasmus is taking over the Springboks now in this new cycle leading up to the World Cup. Eddie Jones helped Jake White with the Springboks win. He led England to an amazing World Cup campaign. He obviously beat the Springboks with Japan. And then he had a woeful campaign with Australia now, especially after leaving Quade Cooper and Michael Hooper. He was meant to stay on till the next cycle, but he's left. I don't know if he resigned or if he was fired. But he's a master tactician just outside of this campaign. That's Eddie Jones. And then Scott Robinson is taking over from Ian Foster with the All Blacks. As much as Ian Foster surprised everyone towards the end and had a great campaign, they'd already pre-decided that he's leaving. Back to back wins with the Crusaders at the Super Rugby. Scott Robinson, even after Steve Hansen, people wanted to see him become the All Blacks coach, and he's finally getting it. His nickname is Razor, and he's going to be taking on the All Blacks leading up to 2027.
It's exciting time for rugby.
Andy Farrell, won Coach of the Year, the coach of Ireland. Shout out to Andy Farrell.
Pedigree. It's exciting, and I think what people you did a piece where you spoke about. Did you put it on LinkedIn about being the Springbok or being a Springbok in your life?
I put it on Facebook. I put it on LinkedIn. I put it on X, Twitter as well.
I think people need to, if they haven't read that piece, they need to actually go dig it up.
I'll put it in the description of this video.
Because it's all fine and dandy just to watch sports and get excited, but what does that mean now, And people don't understand, go to, yeah, sharp, you can laugh at me. All Blacks is you. But you got 75 rand in your pocket, though.
Don't be sour, you lost.
No, I'm sour.
Yeah, we don't care about what's in my pocket.
No.
You lost. All Blacks. What's in Zamamieni? Poker, poor. Poker, poor.
So
you lost. Don't worry about what's in my pocket.
Just shut up and cry in the shower. So again, that piece speaks to that. To go say, let's not let this virtual world, because it's other people's real life that are making money. Think, Guti, get lost. You need to draw what you need to draw from these champions and see if you can apply it in your actual everyday life. And you can't just be coasting on this amazing things that they did. Because every day when you're struggling with your rent, you're struggling with your relationship, you're struggling at work, whatever. They are doing amazing things, traveling the country with the trophy, tattooing their butt cheeks. But
Damien Willems, Gaza.
But when right now at home, you're struggling. So how can you draw from that and actually apply it? But yeah.
It is not fair for Sia Kolisi in every single interview to constantly say this win is giving our country back home hope. We have a lot of problems and it's giving people hope. Now, the Springboks this is what my piece was essentially saying. The Springboks are doing everything and we need to meet them halfway. Apparently my piece has been going through business groups and whatever. Are you meeting the Springboks? They've given you the hope and the inspiration. What are you now doing with it? We saw now with the Springbok Trophy Tour, so many politicians trying to ride the shine. In Durban, we saw the Minister of Sports, Uzizi Godwa, we saw Cyril Ramaphosa raising the trophy, and it left a bitter taste in the mouths of so many people because they were saying, when Sia Kolisi and the Springboks speak about, we've got problems in our country, we're giving our people hope, it is a direct result of our politicians that this country is a mess and we need hope. We've got high crime, we've got potholes, we've got load shedding, which weirdly just ended the day, like load shedding kicked in again after the Springbok, after the Rugby World Cup final. There was no load shedding during the World Cup. So convenient. No jobs. People are poor. High income inequality. The people responsible for that are there busy parading the trophy and riding the bus. It leaves a bitter taste in people's mouths.
Or Figile Mbalula dressed in, what is it, Gucci shit and
Dolce & Gabbana. Make sure
like,
that yellow clown.
Looking like a Teletubby. Like those type of things do leave a bit of a bitter taste.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put the piece in the description because the Springboks are officially my second favorite team now. But the whole point is I love the Springboks. I prefer the All Blacks, but I love the Springboks. And what Sia represents, what Cheslin Colby represents, what Magazole Mapimpi represents. Dwayne Vermeulen is raised in a single mother household. Peter Steph du Toit didn't go to a prestigious school, etc., etc. What these guys represent and what they've achieved. You look at Rassie Erasmus, whose father was an alcoholic, boy from Dispatch, and some of his struggles in his own life. What they represent inspires people like me. I can't say the same about the All Blacks. As much as I love the team, I only know a few of the stories. The Sevilla brothers, as an example. We know some of the Samoan players and the poverty they come from. Some of the Fijian guys who end up playing for New Zealand because they come from an impoverished Fiji. But the rest of the guys we don't know. But we know our guys here, the black players, the colored players, the racism in this country, the poverty. So the inspiration comes there. And when you watch the Springboks lift the trophy, you're meant to then go home and say, now that the guys have won, it doesn't matter who you support. Even Antoine Dupont, the guy fractured his face. How do you rise up from adversity and do better? You look at an England that had been written off. You look at an All Blacks that had been written off and they rose to the occasion. You look at an Argentina who are arm wrestling with...
Yeah.
So you ask yourself, what can I take from this? How can I rise to the occasion to make sure that I am like Rassi Erasmus in my home? I'm like Rassi Erasmus in my business. I am putting in work at my job like a Peter Steph Dutoy. I am dazzling investors like a Cheston Colby. When the time is right, when I get on screen and I'm about to act, when I'm about to perform as a musician, I rise like Andre Pollard and I'm like, I'll get the job done. So we need to draw that inspiration. It cannot be that 2019 the Springboks bring inspiration and then nothing happens. And then you wait for the next World Cup for them to bring inspiration. And then nothing happens. Come 2027, guys, we need you. Bring the hope. And we can't keep bringing the hope when you guys are not meeting us halfway. You keep voting for the same clowns. You guys refuse to volunteer in community service every week. You guys don't want to get involved in your child's school and volunteer and do the right things. You guys don't want to get into government and serve. You guys don't want to apply for tenders and make sure that you're not corrupt. You guys don't want to stop bribing cops. You guys don't want to stop lying on affidavits and.
You guys
like
don't even
you
want to
cheer,
fix your
but-
own bodies. Need to they body. Like it's
Sorry,
just
man.
it starts at home. But yeah, talking about that, your best friend, what's his name? Julius. So
Juju, my baby.
your best friend.
We're not gonna have time, so you're gonna have to choose which of the last two topics to kill.
But yeah, no, when like he did say, and it was very touching when he's like, when rugby's played, no load shedding, but when the kids are writing their finals, boom, load shedding. You know.
I need to get this lady's name because she did an amazing job in interviewing Julius. But please carry on.
Yeah. So there's two topics. The one topic is.
Oh no, I wanted you to carry on what Julius was saying. Faith Mangope, I just wanted to confirm. Faith Mangope on KFM interviewed Julius Malema, asking him about the EFF's political campaign going into 2024, the ANC, and one of the things that came out that Julius raised is it cannot be that we have no load shedding during the Rugby World Cup, and then the day after the Rugby World Cup, load shedding is back, which means that it is engineered and it is manufactured so that Cyril Ramaphosa, the ANC, and their friends in big business can continue looting this country. And at the same time, the load shedding was not there for rugby, entertainment, but now when matriculants in this country need to study for their matric exams, they have to do it under candlelight. Not because there's no electricity in their house, there is electricity, but Eskom is not supplying it because the ANC has ravaged this country. Shout out to Julius Malema, man, and thank you so much for always speaking truth to power in a lot of your interviews. We appreciate it and we cherish it very much, and it inspires so many of us to be brave in truth, in speaking truth about the horrendous atrocities that happen in this country by the people that we call leaders, that smile next to our real heroes, that actually bleed on fields, that bleed in boardrooms, that bleed everywhere else. The guys who are actually destroying this country smile next to those people as if they had a hand to play. It's quite embarrassing and frustrating. Look, and it's also... No, I don't need to mention this. The EFF congratulated the Springboks for their win. In the last win, we sent in those, and some of the EFF guys were not happy. They were like, fake unity. The Springboks shouldn't win. It's a symbol of Afrikaner what. But we moved past that. The EFF celebrated and congratulated the Springboks. So yeah. Last two topics, if you can mention them quickly. Israel, Palestine, and the other one is?
I'm looking at my boys running around here, nearly getting hit by cars. The third one was
they're not getting hit by cars before you guys judge us as bad parents. That would rather fucking podcast than go save kids. He's fucking around. The boys are running out there, but there are no cars. Jeez. Hey, no, they need to hey, content was in No, guys, the kids are running around, but there's no cars. Israel, Palestine, and the other one is?
The other one is dating a person with...
Yeah, that other one's going to need its own hour. We can speak about Israel and Palestine.
We can speak about it because, like, you're talking about fake smiles, people who are in position of power, who are selling a certain narrative. I can just imagine how it feels for the players who have just put in blood, sweat, tears.
Malcolm Marx, literally bleeding, getting injured for the country.
And then seeing Cyril standing there to lift the trophy. Like, I can just imagine that frustration, because now you have to smile and pretend like
it's gaslighting.
It's
a true warrior. Rassia Rasmus was in the back of the team, in the corner there. If you see the picture, Cyril is at the front with this big fucking smile. Rassi, the real champion, and Jacques Nienaber, I can't even see him in the picture. Those are the real heroes. Mzwandile Stick, I can't see him. The guys who actually championed the team are nowhere there trying to claim glory at all.
And you're seeing Ophil and Balula and Dolce and Gabbana,
Begitele was there as well.
Like you like Begitele, the crime in this country is disgusting. When you should be fucking grafting 24/7.
He's busy with croissants.
Croissant. Like it is disgusting, guys. It really is. But another disgusting thing is what's currently happening, in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine.
What's been happening? It's not new.
And again, it's such a sensitive topic because in the world that we live in, there's topics that we're not allowed to talk about. The moment you talk about it, you're flagged as whether you are Islamophobic, or you are anti-Semitic. So when you try and talk about these things, people will rather twist your words and make it seem as if you are talking about a certain religion because Israel is a country. So again, it is a country with fighting another country. And this has happened.
That's already, what you just said is already controversial, by the way.
Is it already controversial?
Yeah.
It is, it is very controversial. But that's the sad reality of the world that we live in. And we have us as people celebrating, watching the World Cup, siyapuza, happy at the exact same time, you've got kids being murdered in the Middle East. You've got mothers, you've got women, you've got all these innocent civilians being killed. While Tina, we busy, is he gonna get the kick over? It just tells you where the human being is in today's society. Tina said, Chabulas, popping bottles, buying, chilling, vibes, and no one is brave enough to actually, let's just talk about mainstream, actually address these type of topics and saying, what the fuck has been happening in Israel and Palestine? What is currently happening? What happened on the 7th of October 2023? Why did it happen? It's either you are the West and you pick Israel, or you are the rest of the world that picks Palestine, or you want to be Switzerland and just blow in the middle. And it's a very, very, very sensitive topic. I don't know if you've got any points.
Why did you want us to discuss it?
Because I feel like it's a talking point that everybody's running away from.
So I disagree with you, and I think mainstream and even alternative media is not running away from this conversation. I think they're actually going full steam. A lot of alternative media heads, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, some celebrities have actually really, really given their full tilt on their views on the conflict between Israel and Palestine. A lot of mainstream media platforms are covering the issues in the Middle East. The problem, unfortunately, is that, as Penson correctly said, it is very sensitive territory, and as soon as you pick a side, it is that polarizing. It's Russia and Ukraine. It's the supposed pandemic we had recently where countries were shut down. I don't even mention the name anymore because I realize even the mention of the word means the algorithm super analyzes your video. And then there's us, all the way in South Africa, coming from apartheid and all these things. And then we expected to have an opinion. I will share my views. I shared a lot of my views with a gentleman by the name of Bobby Petkoff on the MitMac Masterclass channel. We have our own platform called Unapologetic. I'll drop a link at the bottom. Quick shout out to DJ Sbu as well, because my son, we did this episode months ago. But just on the Hustlers Corner recently, he finally dropped the sit down with myself and Penson, where we spoke a lot about family and brotherhood and working together. I'll drop a link to that as well. George Orwell, whether George Orwell is a person or a collective of writers, because Bitcoin, no one knows the creator of Bitcoin, wrote a book called Animal Farm. And in that book, one of the most famous lines is, all animals are equal, some are more equal than others. What we're seeing with Israel and Palestine is an example of a conflict that all of us are forced to speak about, like Russia and Ukraine, when we have so many other conflicts around the whole world. So Penson is speaking about, we're celebrating the World Cup and Mani Libok kicking over a cake or not. And on the other side of the world, in the Middle East, people are dying. Here in South Africa, in the Cape Flats, people are dying. We've got drug wars. We live relatively close to Westbury, where there's proper drugs and people killed. There was a very young girl that was caught in crossfire a couple of months ago. We've got rampant crime. Like this year, we lost AKA. And almost all of us have surrendered our minds to be like, it's going to be another Senzo Meiwa, the ex-Bafana Bafana goalkeeper and captain. We've already surrendered because we've become despondent and we don't believe in the justice system.
Where are they at that time?
They're eating croissants in Paris. Babita, I forgot her surname, this lady, a whistleblower in the Department of Health with corruption. She was killed. Nothing's happened. So we have atrocities here, but you will find our mainstream platforms focusing on Israel and Palestine. You'll find them focusing on Russia and Ukraine. You'll find them worrying about BRICS and the West. When we've got poverty here,
that's a fact. That
income inequality. That's not to say that's not important. It's for me to just re-emphasize that, guys, mainstream media and social media is controlling your minds and dictates what you must discuss over something else. The conflict in Israel and Palestine, depending on when you decide your history starts, is either decades or centuries or millennia old. Because according to known history, it starts all the way from Abraham. Abraham is known as the father of Judaism first, and then Islam, and then Christianity. These are all from one Bali. Father Abraham had many sons, like Uncle Penny. It starts all the way from there. So I give birth to Penuelism, and then it gives birth to Pensionism, and then Nkunzi is like, fuck that. And then later on, Uzita's like, no, but my father was also... the reality is the world is polarized. And I discussed this with Bobby, and I gave my views based on the history of Israel and Palestine and Hamas and the bombing that happened and the retaliation by Netanyahu and Israel. Then Gareth Cliff invited me on his platform and he tried to get my views, and I really tried to shut them down, and he tried to poke to a point where I eventually kept quiet. And I saw some of the comments saying, Gareth shut you up. There's an uncomfortable conversation you can't cover. And it's like, I'll take it.
Why did you rather keep quiet?
I said this to Gareth, and I think maybe there were a few people that understood. The platforms that we use do not belong to us. They belong to certain individuals who founded them, certain direct investors in their companies, and then certain influential people that either...
What do you mean by platforms we use? Because Manja, I want to think that you're talking about your own platform.
I'm speaking about YouTube, which is under Google. These are American companies. I'm speaking about even a TikTok under China. I'm speaking about X, Twitter, which is under America, of which it's come out. Elon Musk has said that the FBI and the CIA were tracking the data there. We speak about Instagram, which falls under Meta, and WhatsApp and Facebook. I'm not sure if I'm missing one of the big ones. These platforms are run by the founders, the investors, the direct investors that own shares, the influential people behind, which is either the politicians that run policy in those countries or the biggest advertisers. In America, 75% of TV advertising comes from the pharmaceutical industry. 75%. So now on TV, it doesn't matter who you want to be. The idea of bashing the pharmaceutical industry, it's like...
Doesn't make sense.
Bro, these people are actually paying your salary indirectly because they pay for the advertising. The advertising then pays the production company, which then hires you to act or read the news or whatever. Now, similar things are happening on social media. I had a video that I did with Warwick Stock. where I discussed a lot of the political stuff in this country.
The first one or the second one?
The second one.
Yeah.
And literally a week after, YouTube demonetized that video. And they said there's certain things you discussed and the advertisers are not happy. Which advertisers? Oh, all of them? All of the advertisers have an issue? Based on what? What is it that I said? And they've become so wishy-washy in the explanation of why they take the video down. And it's clear that there's agendas and there's propaganda. Now, it so happens that as a South African, not as a Chinese, not as a Russian, China keeps out Facebook and Google products. They've got their own media which pushes their agenda and propaganda. Russia has got their own media and propaganda. There's I think some of the Facebook and Google products don't work there. As South Africans, unfortunately, we are more leaning towards the Western America. Now, we almost get forced, and this is why you found the DA and other people bashing the ANC for saying they stand with Palestine, bashing Naledi Pandor, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, for saying we don't pick between Russia and Ukraine, because we're almost forced to lean towards the West. And if you go on these platforms, which are Western platforms outside of maybe a TikTok, and you say something that is not aligned with the general agenda of America, the United Kingdom, and Western Europe, your video will get taken down, your stuff will get demonetized. We've seen the Russell Brands of this world.
So they'll also find shit about you, know?
Come on, they'll cancel you either online or they'll cancel you in real life.
Remember
like use Rumble
in grade 9 when you you need to get arrested.
So I've accepted that truth.
Yeah.
These are facts. You can argue with me. You can say I'm being a coward. I don't care, bro. This is not a South African platform. These platforms don't have freedom of speech. And because now there's even a financial link, it is what they call social credit, which they have in China, and it's going to come to the rest of the world. And it started now. If Penson's livelihood is based on Instagram and YouTube, and the bulk of his money to get by comes from there, and then he says something that is against the wave, that side, they take down his channel, they demonetize, he can't eat.
Affects my family. Yeah.
That's fine. It's freedom of opinion. He must deal with the consequences, sure. But what that means is that in real life, he has now been gagged. He can't buy a loaf of bread because he said the wrong thing on Twitter. Because Twitter or YouTube have decided you can't say this. And therefore he can't eat. And it's freedom of speech. What he said is not illegal. It is not against any direct policy. It is, the advertisers are not happy. And you're like, okay. So we're living in that time now. So when it comes to Israel and Palestine, personally, I think South Africans have got bigger problems we should be focusing on, number one. Number two, this fight is so old, and it's so deep, and it is bigger than land. Israel and Palestine together are the size of KZN, and even the population is like the size of Gauteng. It's not a big piece of land, it's not a lot of people. But we're all forced to zone in and focus there because it affects certain people that run global economies, that run global media. And mind you, I'm not speaking about Jewish people because people are going to be like, I'm speaking on both sides, including Al Jazeera, including, I think it's Russia Today, including the Chinese television networks. There are people that have a vested interest in those countries, whether because some of the people in Palestine are Muslim, and some of their Muslim friends are spread around the world, whether some of their friends and investors are Jewish and they spread all around the world, and then you're forced to pick a side. And as soon as you're like, no, I pick this side, you get cancelled by the other side. And then when you say, no, I'm calling for peace, again, it's like you're picking a side. What do you mean peace? Peace for who?
How? Wow.
You're like, bro, I'm just saying no one should be killed. Who should not be killed? Who's doing the killing? Because we are under siege. It's you're black. You come from apartheid. You should know better. Oh, Jesus.
Pick a side.
Now, what gaslights me, which gaslit me and a lot of other people with Russia and Ukraine, is you've got in South Africa apartheid beneficiaries. You've got in South Africa racist white people. You've got in South Africa white people who refuse to actually peacefully share land and share the economy and actually be like a Rassi Erasmus or the scout that found Kolisi and put him into grave and his coaches, or Alistair Coetzee, Western Province, those people are refusing to invest in talented black kids. And they have the goal to dictate and demand that you must side with Ukraine. Ooh. You must side with Israel. And you're like, how dare you? How dare you, of all people, want to say to me, living in an RDP house, in a shack, my mom has to catch 3 taxis to go and clean houses. How dare you want me to pick a side when here at home, you have not even apologized for past injustices. You love but I wasn't there, even though I'm enjoying the perks of a party, but I wasn't there, bro. Fuck, I didn't choose to live in the suburbs and be rich. I was not there, bro. Apartheid was 30 years ago. You're like, but you're enjoying the perks. The same way, I was also not there. I didn't choose to be born in a shack. I speak broken English, which is not even a native language, and you're judging me. I didn't choose for English to be the language of business. I didn't choose it, and you're judging me. You didn't choose apartheid, but you're enjoying the benefits. I didn't choose apartheid, and you're asking me to suck up and deal with the consequences. And then you tell me I must, somewhere there where people don't know we exist, I must side with Ukraine. Somewhere out there, but Palestinians, they like you. You're like, because they dark-skinned. So when I see dark-skinned people, I must jump. I must be like, hey, there's oppression there. I stand with the Palestinians because they dark-skinned. I stand with Israel, because you're funded by Jewish people. You can't win. You can't win. So those are my views on Israel and Palestine. But I will close by saying this. As a stoic, as a man who believes in animals and the rules of the jungle, I do not support per se, but in a rational world, the person who wants it the most, will always or should always get it. Land in this whole world, including South Africa, belongs to no one. It's just land. A bird doesn't say, hey, Tweety, did you get our visas? We're going to Madagascar for the holidays. The bird just charts, boy. When a lion is crossing from Mozambique into Zimbabwe, it's not like the Zim lions are like, hey, bro, where the fuck is your visa? Hey, you're an illegal foreigner. Land is land. What happens with land is that human beings, through evolution, have told themselves, I will be a custodian of this land. I will run it. And we'll give it a name, South Africa. And we'll have structures. We'll call them government. And we'll have laws. So I'm the custodian of this land, Ngonyama Trust, or the State of Israel, or the Gaza Strip. To be a custodian of land, and this happens even in the animal kingdom. The Zimbabwean lions, when they see the Mozambican lions come in, will be like, we peed here, boy. If you fucking sniff this grass, boy, that's fucking my pee, boy.
That's my shit, dog.
We don't want you here. And then Scar and Mufasa beef it out. And they fight. And the stronger lion, Scar, beats Mufasa and takes over Pride Rock. And then when another lion comes through one day, Simba, and says, no, this was my father's land. This is my forefather's land. You're like, challenge me. And you must challenge and you must beat the person. So as a stoic, I will say, because no one owns land, anyone who wants to be a custodian, including black South Africans and black Africans, you must be willing to, like a lion, have the most advanced military, have the greatest forms and channels for propaganda, your propaganda, no matter if it's true or not. You must be able to use things, and I said this in the video got taken down, some advanced forms of warfare outside of just the straight up stuff to ensure that you become the custodian. Then you get to implement your language, you get to implement your culture, you get to decide if the women are going to be naked or they're going to cover up their bodies and only show their eyes. You want to decide if cheating ends up with you being stoned to death. You want to decide if you say this in this country, we jail you. You cannot criticize the president because you go to jail. If you do this thing, you will earn a lot of money because you are the custodian of that land. And the person who gets to be the custodian is the Peter Steph Dutoy, the Sia Kolisi, the Manny Libok, Andre Pollard, Cheslin Colby, who is willing to go further and beyond and above to defeat the Adi Savia, Mark Talia, Jordy Barrett, Brody Retallick. If you do that and you win by 1 point, the TMO, which is the UN, the REF, which is all these other countries that come together to fucking pretend like they care, Whether they cheated or not, whether they biased or not, you're like, we beat them. Therefore, we get to be the custodians. That is my belief as a Stoic. But outside of being a Stoic, I really hope there comes peace in the Middle East and they find a way to coexist. And if they cannot coexist, remove both of them and go and put some other people there and absorb them in other countries, somewhere else. And that's me on that topic.
It was what deep, bro. It was what deep. Was a function of Popeye Simba. It deep, lo put anim edela my followers. But yeah, no, I think a lot of sense was made. I think for me, my take home is focusing on our own pain, even though I think ultimately, if this thing doesn't get sorted out and if other countries get roped in, Iran, the Saudis, Turkey, we are looking at a World War III. And again, if the West sneezes, we all get flu. So it becomes one of those things, Wuti, while we're busy focusing on the Cape Flats, while we're busy focusing on what's happening next door, Westdean,
Westbury.
Westbury.
Not Westdean, bro.
Westbury. So
Coronation as well.
While we're busy saying it's okay, us fixing our potholes, all it does take is for the Turkish army is the biggest in the Middle East. All it takes is for those guys to get roped in. All it takes is for the Saudis to get roped in.
By the way, they've been roped in. A lot of the neighboring countries, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, they've been picking.
But I'm saying, once they say we're all in, then it's literally World War III. And Tina, while we're busy trying to fix potholes, next thing we get roped in from now pick a side, shit is about to hit the fan. So again, I don't know if it's a tail wagging the dog wagging the tail, but
Two important points. The first one is, if you get a chance, please go research how much money the American companies are making from military contracts in Ukraine and military contracts in Israel. There are American companies that, it's quite embarrassing that they're actually even applauding how well these companies are doing that are supplying arms to Israel and supplying arms to Ukraine. It's called the American military complex.
Industrial complex.
Yeah. Money being made, by the way. That's the first one. The second one is, before you worry about land issues in Palestine and Israel, try and figure out if you own a piece of land. Just for yourself. A small piece. And if you don't own a small piece, go get a small piece. Whether you're buying it, whether you're leasing it, whether you're illegally occupying it, whatever you want to call it. Go get your piece of land, be a custodian over your piece of land. And while we're speaking about Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, think about the constant conflict that is happening in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where a big chunk of the West still profits off dysfunction in the DRC. Please look up the constant conflict in the Sudan, of which, of course, the West and those guys are still benefiting there. Please go and look up the bombings under Joe Biden's leadership, the bombings that are happening in Somalia and other countries where also innocent people are dying. But unfortunately, mainstream media, which then is meant to trickle down to alternative and social media, they don't cover these stories. There are people being killed daily in various conflicts and wars. But because it is not the cool, we've got the Proteas, shout out to the South African Proteas, Timia Timba Bavuma. They've made it to the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup. Our men and women's hockey are thrashing teams to qualify for, I don't know if it's the Olympics or the World Cup. There's two amazing gents who just beat New Zealand in sheep shearing. There are South Africans doing amazing things, but no one cares because we'd rather focus on the rugby. That's the more cooler story. But where you can, if you have a little YouTube channel, if you have a little TikTok account, do your bit to say, I just want to send a shout out to these guys. I just want to highlight the issues that are happening here. Maybe xenophobia. Maybe there's fights. Look, forget xenophobia. Forget Israel and Palestine. Sort out your family politics, bro. There is beef in your family. I want to claim that they're going to church and they're going to fucking curse you. Hallelujah. What about Tarat? Fix your fucking family. Fix your fucking community.
I feel that is the meat. You know if I get coffee. You know if I get
any what is on the sky? What you put in this coffee, my bro?
Yeah, man, you're being funny.
Closing words, man. We're at 1 hour 4.
Wait, I want to. No, man, I'm just.
Oh, sorry. So we'll discuss modern family, blended family, dating a woman with a child, or I guess a man with a child, marrying a person with a child, you bringing a child. It's a very, very deep layered conversation that we'd like to have. It requires its own time. Closing remarks, Tobias.
Closing remarks. Well done again to the Springboks. Well done to Sia, Rassi, and the entire team. Yeah, go Boka.
Stop being a sour loser.
Nah, I'm a fucking sour loser. But more proud of my team, the mighty All Blacks. We'll continue
Sam Kane and the boys must hold their heads high.
Yeah, hold their heads high, you know. Very, very passionate. And yeah, man, your words really did good. Let's rather focus for me, like, about me trying to find inspiration from what the Springboks did in my own personal lives. Where am I winning? Where am I, even with a fractured face, where am I pushing through and being resilient and finding those wins constantly throughout the day, where I'm lifting my own personal trophy, as you had written. And then again, even with the whole Palestine-Israel thing, even though I've gone down deep into this rabbit hole, you know, just trying to find ways within my home, within my hood, within my space, which, okay, you know, sharp, what are the focus points here? What are we struggling with there and there? What are the potholes in my home? What are the potholes in my family? What are the battles that I'm currently going through? In order to put my energy there rather than get lost in the noise of mainstream media and what they're trying to sell. So those would be my 2 points.
Thank you.
Outside of that, really enjoy these chats. I wish we became more consistent in them.
We need to step up.
Yeah.
I mean, the Springboks brought it home, so we need to meet them halfway. Still big shout out to the box. You know, Rossi spoke about some future talent that we have to look forward to. Hey, shout out to Cooks. Shout out to fucking Cooks.
Shout out, brother. Shout out.
Cooks is doing the most. So he went from social media, TikTok. Cooks does these. He does these after game interviews, but like they link to like normal things like summer's coming, or you know,
having a bride.
Just wash the dishes. How did it go? Oh, look, it was tough, you know, when we got to the pots. But I mean, the boys pulled through. You know, just want to give a shout out to Sunlight and the foam, and so shout out to Cooks, man, for going all the way to mainstream. So we need to step up, of course, and hopefully, as this Gregorian calendar runs out, and we go into the new Gregorian calendar in January, and as the Southern African New Year kicks in from September, and we go into this new nature year, we need to step up for you guys. And we've appreciated the support and the love throughout.
But we will get the gate, actually. I don't know if I should give her a shout out. Should I give her a shout out?
I don't know what the context is.
So I'm giving a shout out to Cindy Ndlovu. As I walked in the complex, she's just like, hey, Benson, thank you so much for the content that you're dropping. Gave a shout out to you, and she's like, she watches a lot of the stuff. So shout out, Sissy. Thank you so much for the support. We truly appreciate. We truly appreciate everyone who actually drops comments, who subscribes, who follows, who likes, who shares. You know, Santanda, guys, truly.
We'll be more consistent. You guys need to take your power back. I've been sitting with and interviewing politicians going into the 2024 national elections in South Africa. And some of my biggest takeaways is, number one, politically illiterate people must stay away from voting. They are destroying this country, number one. Number two is take your power back. Government should be the last line of defense. Willie Leroux is the last line of defense.
Let's go back to Damien Williams.
Shit, I wanted to send a shout out to Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu. Bishops.
Yeah.
I really hope he goes all the way to the Springboks.
He will.
But we can speak about those boys forever. But shout out to Sasha, man. I see you. The government should be the last line of defense. If there's a pothole in your neighborhood, your first thing should be like, what can I do to close this pothole? If not you, then you go to the community WhatsApp group. If you don't have a community WhatsApp group, set it up. How can we patrol our neighborhoods better? There's an issue at your child's school. Oh, look, Angie Mutsir. No, she's the last person you must think about. What can we do in our township school to fix the infrastructure, to build a soccer field? Yeah, but the teachers are always drunk. The Department of Education. No. What can we do as parents? What can we do as a community to fix these things? Start taking your power back. You guys give politicians too much power.
Way too much.
And we need to take the power back. By the time we have fully taken our power back, we will relegate politicians to exactly what they were meant to be, public servants, where we give them the mandate. We've closed all the potholes, we've fixed the border, we've done all these things, and now we are telling you we need you to take budget and put it there. Now we are telling you do this for our army. Now we're telling you do these things in our schools. Not because we need you, we don't, but because we've proven that we don't need you. And now that you're coming on board, you're doing it because we are dictating and we are determining. And currently we are being built into a dependency state with social welfare seeping through people's nostrils. We need to take our power back.
I want to, like, I get it from a political point at the top level, but the rest of us, I don't understand why Abantu, Abazidom are voting. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like anyone can get into a car and drive. Like, there's no
no, but it's unfair to blame them. The system
I get it from a systems point. I'm saying, if I was in power and I want everybody to vote because it will keep me, I'm just saying, for normal everyday people.
Yes, but they went through the schooling system.
Yeah, I get you.
Which is miseducated.
I hear you. I'm just
they
hoping,
are puppets,
what you said.
They are puppets of propaganda. Just like the Springboks, there's going to be campaigning next year. Everyone's going to want to be amongst and involved.
I'm hoping that thing that you said about uneducated voters, not getting a job, I'm hoping that it sparks a certain discussion or debate amongst so many people. Look, like a learner's license, before you get behind the wheel, you need to have a learner's license. Before you do something as powerful as voting, you need to have some sort of basic training. There's again, it might be just you sitting down and doing a hour workshop, virtual workshop, or go to your church or your local police station or one. You do this hour thing. After you've done it for an hour, you get some sort of ipe panyana that says you are now qualified to go vote. Because again, people are just voting based on who gives you 3x2 in a t-shirt.
No, it's up to us, guys. There's no one out there. What Penson is asking for, it's me and him.
Yeah. We
need to go to townships, to churches, to spaces, and speak to abantu sibacele bafethu siyanicela ukuthi ningavoti until, not ukuthi navoti full stop, but until, and educate them that this grant you're receiving, the free healthcare, the free schooling, those are not ANC benefits, those are government benefits. And once you are politically literate, you can ensure that you keep those benefits by putting in the right type of leaders. Or you can re-engineer the benefits. I don't want a grant, I'd rather get a job. Give me a job in government to clean the neighborhood and then afterwards pay me something to do the work. So it starts with us, but you need to take your power back and you need to lead. Grow your own food, try and educate your own children. Get involved. You can do it in a bucket at your house. Yes, well, if you guys do it as a community all of a sudden, there's a couple of Zambani. Set up community vegetable gardens, set up vegetable gardens at your child's school, be a present parent, show up for your children. If you can, get a gun and become your own police, become your own soldier, patrol your own neighborhoods, join community groups.
Legal. Because in some economy,
yeah, I won't make a comment on that. I know why he's saying it. It's like me and the gambling thing. It's the right thing to say.
It's the right thing to say.
Get a legal gun, go through the right processes. All I'm saying is arm yourself, protect yourself, because some of the police and the soldiers are corrupt. So defend yourself. Legally. Just protect yourself from the tyranny of the state that has become very corrupt. Rely less on the courts because they're corrupt. Try and solve your own problems. Mediate if there's domestic violence in your home. Get involved and help the couples within your family to resolve those things. If people are keeping children from a father, from a mom, get involved. And be like, before this goes to court, to strangers that don't know us and don't care, I'm going to get involved and it won't be nice. And I think my last point is going to be, there is no great family, as far as I know, that has ever been built by democracy. Every great family that I know has had a visionary dictator who generally went and got resources, whether they set up a business and got rich or whether they became violent. And then they came to the rest of the family and they said, we are now going into the taxi industry. We are now going into farming, we are now going into tenders. We are now going into retail. We are now going into wholesale. We are now going into construction. But it wasn't because every little person in the family got to vote and share their views. It was because of a visionary dictator. And you watching this video need to figure out whether yourself or someone else in your family is that dictator that you wish for, who has a vision, who has a good heart, and he's willing to put in the work and take the criticism and be like, please lead us in this family and we'll follow on you. Because democracy at a national level is not working, but also in our families. No great family. Upensin has got 3 boys. I've got 4 boys and 2 girls. Our families are not...
democracy is
not going to work. We're not speaking about tyranny. We're not speaking about oppression. We're speaking about a visionary father-mother duo who are saying you will not eat ice cream. You will not drink Coke before you go sleep. You will not go play outside when you haven't finished your maths homework. I will make the hard decisions for you. You're going to cry. You're going to be in pain. You're going to feel frustrated so that after matric, after your qualifications, you become something special. Because we went through the sacrifices that the next family, they were so cool. Their kid gets to drive the car and gets to throw parties. Let them be cool. Les Brown says if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, Penuel the black pen.
Why are you doing it with why not the same? What's wrong with the same?
It's short. I feel like a midget.
You feel like a T-Rex. John went. Where did he go?
Let's do the gay handshake. Hey man, shout out to everyone who's disabled, by the way. Not throwing shade. Not throwing shade at all. It's just my arm felt a bit short here. A bit short. We're out.